Denton African American Museum is playing a crucial role to inform, educate, and aware people about the dark history of racism in Denton.
Quakertown was a very successful community within the community.
You see a lot of middle-class, older white people that don't want to hear your story and don't care what you think.
Denton is home to a history of African American struggles. It is no surprise that this North Texas area has stains of racism ingrained in its history. The Denton County African American Museum was founded in 1904 to preserve the significance of African American history in Denton. After the Civil War, free slaves created their own settlement in Denton County called Quakertown, which was later relocated. What had once begun as a proposal to create city parks turned into an issue of racism and removing the black population as far from Denton as possible.
So Quakertown was a very successful community within the community. This was formerly enslaved people and subsequent generations who had a successful business district, had their own schools, had their own churches, on the site of what's now Quakertown Park.
It was decided the Quakertown would be relocated to east history of the railroad tracks, the Denton and County of the McKinney Road along Pecan Creek. However, certain white residents of Denton wanted to locate the Quakertown residents further from the city square. When the city relocated the entire African American community of Quakertown to make room for the Denton Civic Center Park, the frame house of the museum was relocated as well. The museum is a center for Quakertown experiences and the life chronicles of African American families and their struggle. The museum also archives the papers and medical supplies of Dr. Edwin D. Moten, who was Denton's first African American doctor. To promote the history of Quakertown, the museum occasionally hosts special events, including guided group tours, and helps comprise a triad of museums at Denton County Museum Historical Park.
The history is well known. The African American community started here in 1875 when a group of families moved up here. They steadily moved north to the almost the center of the city, and they thrived here. They thrived here against really all odds. They thrived here and were forced to move again. And right now in southeast Denton, where they moved to eventually, there is a very large community, African American community, still there to this day. And some of them don't know their history, and that's why we're here.
Quakertown was named to honor the abolitionist Pennsylvania Quakers, whose history is hidden in this museum.
But mostly it's people who come here who have seen it on the internet. What do I do in Denton? Well, this shows up. People who are driving on that street right now, who live in Denton and go to work every day, don't know we're here. Because they live here and they drive by here every day. I had a guy one time, this is part of it, who came up to the door and asked me if I lived there. They just don't know what's going on here.
The museum is now home to artifacts that tell the stories of those families and many more. Denton regrets its racial history and has been working hard to further diversify the community. The Denton African American Museum is playing a crucial role to inform, educate, and aware people about the dark history of racism in Denton. The will, aspirations, and sufferings of these African American families are told through photographs and information from 1875, when they first came here seeking a better life. These are the stories that should be preserved and not be forgotten.
I said you go on UNT's campus and you see so much diversity, but when you get off campus, you don't see that diversity. You see, no offense, but you see a lot of middle-class, older white people that don't want to hear your story and don't care what you think. And I think that needs to change, honestly.